Check, check. Hey, hi. How you doing? Welcome to None of This Matters. I'm Danny Kopij. Today we got Adam from Ornaments on the show. Good talk, long talk. Covered a lot of ground. They had a pretty fucking roller coaster of a year, 2016. So we get into pretty big detail on that. Talk about them continuing as a three-piece. Sound they're going to be going towards. And we talk about gear. Talk about Star Wars. Growing up in New York and then living in a gentrified Brooklyn. Which is strange. I don't know, man. I'm not really because I worked down the Lower East Side, and I lived in Greenpoint for a little bit in like 2012, 2013. And it's just, especially because I'm Polish, so Greenpoint used to be kind of like Polishville. It's just kind of strange to see what it turned into. Like, you know, the old Polonas, where my dad's old wedding band used to play fucking Polish weddings. Isn't that a Brooklyn Night Bazaar? It's weird. Yeah. Overabundance of Joy Division t-shirts and Black Flag bars from people who strictly listen to Tame Impala or Mac DeMarco. Good for them. You know what? Good for them. Anyway, hope your week's going good. Tried meditation for the first time yesterday. Kind of went how anyone would expect me to meditating. How that would go. You know, let go of your anger and rage and focus on the positive choices you've made in your life. I mean, right off the bat, I'm not a person who's made a lot of positive choices. So I'm sitting there like really putting effort and racking my brain trying to find positive choices. And then I start going into existential crises because what is a positive choice? Isn't that subjective? I mean, if we're not talking about magnets, what exactly is positive? You know? So then I immediately kind of started fucking stressing out from that. Then the whole let go of your anger part came in. And I'm not, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit of an angry person, but like, how do you do that? How do you just let go of an emotion? How do you let go of a necessary human emotion? And these are all things I'm thinking about as I'm trying to fucking lay there, fall into total nothingness and zen. And it's not really working too well for me. So then I just kind of stopped and frustratingly smoked a cigarette and went to bed. So that was that. I don't know. Everyone says that, yeah, you can't get it on the first one. But I'm not really a new age guy. I'm more kind of a try everything once. And I don't know. I was trying to alleviate all negative emotions and thoughts. That's what the whole exercise is behind. It didn't go too well. Didn't fucking go too well. But hey, it's all right. Anyway, Ornaments have an album out. It's called Stories to Weather, Storms to Tell. You can get it on vinyl, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Bandcamp, Google Play. I also want to know who uses Google Play. If you download music off Google Play, you should let me know. I want to know who you are. I think everyone else, you know, the 5 people that listen to this, if that, would like to know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. Ha! I said it. Same of the show. Whatever. Let's move on with it. This is my interview with Adam. which little preface, little prologue I want to give to this. I woke up awfully early for this, earlier than I'm used to. So naturally I was jacked up on like 10 cups of coffee. But talk ended up going pretty good. So this is me, Adam, Ornaments. Enjoy.
Minimum start at 14 an hour.
Yeah.
But when I got bumped up to 14 an hour, it took my raises that I've accumulated over being with the company for 3 years on top of that, so I'm making like 15, 16 an hour.
That's fucking
awesome. I was making that in Brooklyn, and then when I transferred out here, I worked 10 hours one week, and I got my paycheck last week, and I'm just like, why is my paycheck like so fucking decent for working 10 hours? And I went into the store, and I talked to my manager, and she helped me find out how much I'm getting paid. And we pulled it up, and she sees the number, what I get paid an hour, and she just shuts the laptop, and she's like, you keep your mouth shut about this.
So it's like, it's not a mistake. It's like straight up like you're
straight. Yeah, but she doesn't want anybody, because I'm getting paid more than the shift supervisors.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And all the free coffee you can drink. So.
Oh, yeah. I haven't paid for coffee in years.
That's
I haven't paid for coffee in 3 years. And I've been to so many stores that there's 3 Starbucks I can go to on the island that gives me free coffee.
Do you have like a card where you go to a Starbucks and you're like, I'm a Starbucks employee?
Yeah. You have a card and you have like numbers that you could just put in. Some Starbucks will be cool and give you your drink for free, but they're not supposed to. Like on your days off, you're supposed to just get a discount. But if you work at that store, like your employees are like cool with you, they'll just like give it to you for free.
Yeah, and I mean at the same time, it's like paying fucking $6 for a caramel latte. How much does it really cost to make that fucking thing?
I was saying probably
like 72 cents.
Well, you got milk and espresso. Coffee's cheap as fuck. So, like, espresso.
Yeah,
each shot of espresso has got to be like 20 cents to make.
20 cents, and then think about like a carton of milk is maybe like $3 tops if you're using like almond milk.
Yeah, and if you're using 12 ounces of that, of $3, 12 ounces of $3, that's got to come to like fucking like 50 cents.
Yeah.
Or like something really minuscule.
So I guess it's safe to assume that Ornaments are not at the point where you guys are past day jobs.
No, definitely not. I can't. It sucks. I would like to start like a real job, but I know that, especially now we're trying to get back on the road and everything. We're like recouping right now. But like last year, the reason I've been working at this shitty fucking job for so long is because last year I went on tour for a month and then came back for a week and then went out again for another 2 weeks. And in that week I came back, I worked.
Yeah.
I worked that week. They scheduled me and then I went out again. And then I came back and I still had a job. Like the day I came back, they scheduled me.
I mean, that's awesome. That's the number one thing. When you're in a band, it's important to have a job with flexible hours.
Exactly.
That's able to give you the time. So
Yeah.
that's why when people ask, it's like, that's why I feel like a lot of hard time articles are so fucking accurate.
Yeah.
When they're like, drummer who's worked at a 7-Eleven his entire life is afraid to ask for a week
Oh,
off.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, in general, I want to talk about the fact because like 2016, especially the first half of the year, you guys were fucking hitting it hard.
Yeah.
And then you guys kind of took like a radio silence. You want to discuss kind of where you guys been at for the past couple months and kind of how next time people see Ornaments, it's going to be a little bit of different sound, different lineup.
2016, as soon as we could, pretty much as soon as we bought the van and the EP was pressed and we were playing those songs, we pretty much started booking out-of-date shows. I think we played 2 shows on Long Island, and then we started doing weekenders. You know, we started doing 3 days off, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, like upstate New York, like anywhere we could to kind of just like get out as much as possible.
You guys were touring a lot with like Arrowhead and Sleeping and whatnot.
Yeah, we did a lot of shows with those guys, like Arrowhead. Whenever we went up to Boston or New Hampshire, it was always with Arrowhead and our friends at the Heart of It.
Sleeping, we actually got to come down for a Shaker show. They're fucking awesome dudes.
Yeah, they're really good dudes.
I love those guys.
Yeah, so every time we like go to New Jersey, the first people we'll contact is Sleep In, because even if they can't book us something in Jersey, they'll always try to book us something in Philly, because it's like, for them it's like a 20-minute drive. I think it's shorter for them to drive to Philly to play a show with us than rather book something like on the far end of New Jersey for them.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I felt bad when they played Shakers with us that one time, because I think they played right after Nightmare Police, and so it was
and everybody everybody just left.
I felt so bad, dude, because they sounded so fucking good.
They always do.
It was just like, dude, they're one of the few bands I've heard that isn't of an like upper echelon of a touring band that sounds exactly like they do live
on record.
On the record. Like the harmonies are
yeah.
fucking insane.
The harmonies, the guitar playing especially, like everything to a T. Like they just, and like I don't know, they're able to replicate what they do on record just flawlessly. Yeah, it's always such a pleasure seeing them live.
Yeah, no, they're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry to sidetrack that, but sorry. So you were doing a lot of touring with Arrowhead, Sleep In.
Yeah, we would do like Arrowhead, Sleep In, At the Heart of It, our friends in Dope Ghost. So we were doing a lot of weekenders, and then we met all those bands. We met a bunch more too, and then we we got on South by Southwest. And then we went all the way to Texas.
Which that must have been fucking huge.
That was a lot of fun. Jeez, that was
Austin, right?
Yeah.
How was Austin,
Texas? Austin's awesome.
Especially
maybe it was just because I was there for like the week of like South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Because it's just so cool. Like every store owner is throwing a show. Like we saw Into It Over It on the rooftop of a Whole Foods.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Into It Over It, but that would just be fucking awesome to see.
Yeah, like we were driving down, and they're driving down a strip of Main Street, and there's just shows going on everywhere. It's everything. It's we had Into It Over It on the top of a Whole Foods, and across the road there was Little Dicky performing. Yeah, and I was so conflicted because I've seen Into It Over It so many times, and I've never seen Little Dicky. But I didn't want to go over there alone, so we went to go to Whole Foods instead. But it's so cool because like in Austin during that week of South by Southwest, if you're like a store owner and you don't throw a show in your store, or if you're a store manager for like a corporate kind of company and you don't throw like a show during that week, you're like a weirdo. You're like, what do you mean? There's no shows going on.
I mean, I always gathered that about August, just between like South by Southwest and like Austin city limits, and like just the rich music scene they've always fucking had.
Yeah,
especially just like going back from like the blues that they had there, like like the Gary Clark Juniors and the fucking Jimmy Vaughns, the Stevie Ray Vaughns, all the way up to just how it became like. I feel like Austin, and Craig, I haven't been there, but so correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I feel like Austin, Texas is like Williamsburg circa 2005 without the pretension.
I guess
just
add like that Texas style to it.
Yeah,
add that like taco truck and like you know like non-pretentious and I don't know the 10-gallon hat kind of like Texan type vibe.
Because you were living in Brooklyn for a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy that? From a fucking shut-in like you, I want to hear how you enjoyed this.
God, it's exactly how you'd picture I'd take it. I did not leave my apartment. I went to work and I came home and I just like hung out there. Yeah. And my girlfriend at the time really wanted to go out and see stuff and meet people, but I'm just such like an introvert. Like I have my close group of friends back out on Long Island, and I'm not really trying to expand. I don't know. I was just such a fucking shut-in. Like I had no desire to go out and like experience things out there.
It's just like a weird scene out there, man. I went to some punk bar it was actually Lower East Side on Ludlow and like just south of Delancey. Yeah. And I walk in there and it's like, they're playing Misfits, Bouncing Souls. Yeah. I'm like, awesome. All right. Fucking good punk bar. I could probably talk music with people here. Yeah. Everyone was bringing up Tumblr and Twitter. Yeah. And then just like how terrible Trump is. Yep. And I'm just like, dude, like I came to a punk bar so I could like have a fucking Miller High Life. We could talk some punk. Let's talk about Gigi Allen throwing shit on people. Like let's talk about anything. Nope.
Yeah.
This fucking kid wearing a Black Sabbath shirt. Yo, did you ever hear the Born Evil album with the guy from Deep Purple? Well, what's that album with the guy with the sword on the cover? I'm like, you mean Paranoid? You mean their most popular fucking album? I'm done. Because I was gonna do the same thing because I work in Lower East Side.
Yeah,
So
I know you were trying to, but I think you were trying to hold off on moving out there.
I was trying to hold off, and then like as I was trying to hold off and save money and look for like a proper scenario, to be completely honest, what I was trying to do for like a solid 6 months is find like a girl to date that I could just be like, I'm sleeping over tonight.
Yeah,
so it's like 20 minutes for me to get to work as opposed to an hour
Exactly.
and a half.
Let me sleep on your couch.
But I don't know. It's just like it's weird feeling like an outsider in the place I grew up.
Yeah, right. That's pretty much how I felt living out in Brooklyn. I felt like I didn't really fit in with like the crowd of people there,
Which is weird.
The way they like carried themselves, and it is weird because like when I told people out here that I was moving to Brooklyn, everybody was like, "Oh, of course you are." Like, of course, like you look like you belong in Brooklyn.
In like 2006, 2007, you would have fit in perfectly because like I remember the Bedford Avenue scene back then. It was artists, you know. It wasn't as real estate wasn't going up. Like you could find an apartment for like $900 a month, split it with like 3 people.
Fucking wish.
Yeah, when Williamsburg was still a decrepit shithole, and like that's when shows were happening like every other day.
Yeah, and then property taxes went up, and it's impossible to if you're a young person, like a young hip person living out in like the Williamsburg area, most likely your parents are helping you out.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's
no fucking
unless you're like such a young like business I don't know, just doing really well for yourself. Somebody's helping you out. I'm happy finding like I'm happy finding like basements to live on Long Island for like 500 illegal basements to.
I'm more than happy with a basement apartment.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't need anything else.
Yeah.
All right, but since we got sidetracked like a million times, let's go back to the band real quick.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, you guys, South by Southwest. That's where we left
South by
off.
Southwest, and then we came home, and then we were home for like a week and a half, and then we went out again with our friends in Sparrows from Canada, and then we did about almost 2 weeks with them.
I mean, that was a good tour, right?
That was a great tour. I think that was more or less like us and Sparrows finding an excuse just to hang out with each other. Because like the South by Southwest thing was like we went on tour because we got on South by Southwest, you know, and then we booked a tour around playing that festival.
Yeah.
But the Sparrows thing was more or less just like you want to just hang out for like a week and a half and just like dig around and play some shows, and that's pretty much what it was. I mean, but it was still good, but it was more or less just like let's just hang out and and like go on the road for a while.
That's fucking awesome though.
Yeah.
What city would you say has been the most receptive to you guys thus far?
Oh God.
Not counting your hometown.
I would say we get our best responses in Boston.
That makes sense.
Baltimore, everywhere else, like because we've been to Baltimore a handful of times as well as Boston. You know, we get really good reception, especially where we play around Boston. Like it's like a college, like a lot of Berkeley students like kind of hang out there. So like the shows that would that got thrown in like this basement, a lot of kids would come out for those shows. So it's a good area to like have shows in over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Baltimore, there's a promoter, Shane, that like always helped us out. Like we met him on our tour at South by Southwest, and we played like this. It was like a last minute show we had to book there, so he booked us in like this record store.
Yeah.
But like we played with a bunch of like funky like jam bands, and I remember I didn't have a mic stand. So Anthony, our other vocalist at the time, he had the mic stand, and he looks at me and he's just like, "We'll just share." And I looked at him and I'm like, "You're crazy."
Do the fucking Guns N' Roses thing.
Yeah, I'm like, "We're not fucking sharing. I'm just gonna like get in people's faces."
You guys are just gonna fucking like back to back, like leaning on each other, and then turn around, take turns singing to the mic.
No, yeah, especially with our music too, because he's always flinging his guitar around, and I'm always like moving around a lot. Somebody's gonna get hurt, and
you can't be standing there nodding your head like Joey fucking Gladstone. Like,
no,
yeah.
So I like hooked a mic, like just it was a ceiling just like this. So I took out one of the tiles and I wrapped my an XLR cable over, and I had the mic hanging.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I didn't even get through a song with it. I just unhooked it and I threw the mic away. And I can't do this, because I would move around, I would hit it, it would, like a wrecking ball would come back and smash me in the teeth.
Yeah, I mean, like, it works in like '90s music videos, but like,
yeah,
the
it
realistic...
looked cool, but it was hell. So we played there, and it was a smaller show. It didn't really do well, but Sean still did his best to take care of us. And every time after that, every time we go to Baltimore, it's always like an awesome time. A lot of awesome bands play, and like
yeah, they got a pretty good like healthy local scene over there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So I guess those would be the two cities that I guess where we get received well, just because we've been there. I think more than the others.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you go back, there's 10 people, next time there's 20, then 20 turns into 40
well,
turns into
hopefully.
80.
I mean, I think we're still at I think we still draw at least like 10 people,
right.
I want to say, which isn't
it's
bad.
a start.
Yeah, it's a start, but I mean, we've only been on the road. We've only been on the road for a year, I think. A year and a half now.
No, but all right, but this is, you guys are about to embark into a whole second chapter in the band, because 2016, you guys were touring a lot. It started really fucking good and really healthy for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys came out with the LP with Stories to Weather, Storms to Tell.
Yeah.
I'm saying that right? Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's like rave reviews everywhere. You guys, everyone I talk to loves you guys.
Yeah.
And just in general, it was like 2016 looked like it was gonna be your year.
Yeah.
A lot of touring, and then around halfway through the year, some things started happening within the band. Would you want to elaborate as much as you publicly want to talk about it?
Yeah. I mean, so our guitarist at the time, Anthony, got a guitar teching job for Dillinger Escape Plan, and which was good. Like that's like me getting asked to guitar tech for like
Tool.
Tool, pretty much. Something maybe not as big, but like that's like I would not, if I was in his shoes. You can't say no to that.
Yeah.
So
I was just busting your balls with the Tool comment though.
Oh, I would.
All those middle school pictures of you in the Tool shirt. I just need to touch on really quick.
Oh god.
So he got the job guitar teching for Dylan.
Yeah. So he went away for like a month and a half, and everything was cool, and the three of us, and he took on the role of managing us, as well as like communicating through Facebook and everything. So he came back. He came back in like, so we got on Fest when he was away. We announced that we were playing Fest
in Gainesville, Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, this was before he went away. We announced we were playing Fest, and then we were supposed to book like a 2-week tour down the East Coast and back up.
Like the road to Fest that a lot of bands do.
Exactly. And then he got another tour thrown at him, and he says, "I got to do this as well." We said, fine, as long as we can play Fest. Like, we don't mind just driving straight down just to play Fest and then drive straight back up, which is what we did. And he said, fine. So he was in California at the time, and he took a plane to Fest. He just took like a plane ride just to play like a 20-minute set.
Well, did he bring gear with him, or did you guys take his gear?
They had a black backline at the venue we were playing.
So you just had to bring like his pedals and guitar.
We had to bring his pedals and guitar. No drum set, just a kick pedal, and then we had to bring our guitars and our heads and our pedal boards.
Which is pretty awesome. It's like, oh, come to Florida. We pretty much have all the gear ready to go for you.
Exactly, and they had like orange cabs, and like they were all set up.
I mean, Fest, yeah, they're gonna have top line shit.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So so he flies out.
So it flies out.
Do the show.
Yeah, it does Fest, and then we drive back up. And it kind of got a little crazy with the tour we had started to book. I guess there was a communication problem with a lot of the bookers that we were supposed to stay in contact with, where we were supposed to go do half of that tour with our friends in Sparrows. They were going to come down from Canada and do the second half of that tour with us.
Yeah. I remember you guys advertising that.
Yeah, we were advertising that, and then but then I guess communications problems started happening, and we were still on flyers for shows that we weren't playing. And even one person wrote like the nicest article about us. and at the end it was promoting a show we were supposed to play with Sparrows, and I read it and I'm just like, fuck, like this is like so nice, but they don't know that we're not playing.
You know, you definitely owe that person like a +1 and a
I
bottle of
know.
fucking champagne next time you press that play that
I
time.
know.
Do you remember what publication it was?
I don't. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then communication problems, and then a little bit of tension rose from that. Anthony then came back, and we had a plan for the winter to write a new record, because we've been trying to sit down and write a new record pretty much like after we got back from like South by.
Well, Stories was 2015, right?
Stories was released in 2015.
And the songs that you did, the music videos you did at Voodoo, are those on the LP release or those?
That is not on the LP. That's on the 12-inch release.
Okay.
But online, on like Bandcamp, those two songs aren't there.
So because I just sorry to cut you off, but when you guys originally released it, just to let everyone know, it was originally a cassette pressing.
Yeah.
And then just finally on the Hotfoot record?
Yeah.
Yeah, they finally released the 12-inch back in 2016.
Yeah.
And
we got
that one has the additional songs.
Yeah, that one's got the 2 additional songs, and we figured we'd do something extra when the 12 inches got released, because it was so hard to try to get 12-inch records.
Yeah.
You know, it took us like a year to try to get them pressed, because like it's just so hard to get like records pressed, especially like for record day, and you have stuff that gets pushed back and everything like that. So when they finally released it, we had recorded those 2 songs live and released those videos with them. So we figured we were going to release those by themselves, but we just figured that like we'll just put them on the 12-inch release to just give more incentive, as it's not just this record that people have been listening to for over a year. You have like 2 more. There's like 2 more tracks on them.
I mean, but it's cool because those songs they fit the tone of Stories to begin with, like the original songs that you had on the cassette.
Yeah.
But it also pushes them in a little bit of a newer territory.
Exactly. Like after we wrote Stories, those 2 songs came shortly after.
Yeah.
I think one of those songs was pretty much done and written when we were already in the studio recording Stories.
Yeah.
And we decided to hold off and keep Stories the way it was, to just kind of, we were going to find a band to do a split with, but then we couldn't, and then we were going to release it on its own, and then we didn't do that. So we just put those 2 songs, and I think that's why that goes so cohesively with the rest of the record.
Yeah, I mean, it flows perfectly. It's I never heard the cassette prior to, I would have just assumed that it flows like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, but anyway, so getting back, you guys Playfest. You guys booked the second tour with Sparrows.
Yeah, we started to book it, and then we had to drop it off. That was actually the tour we were supposed to play down to Fest.
So it was a totally last minute
cancellation. Not everything got canceled.
Okay.
So then Anthony came back, and then we decided to write for the winter. To just kind of sit down and kind of like, okay, it's going to be a new year. Stories was released last year. We should really like put out another. We were trying to write a full length for the longest time, and then we realized we couldn't do that. And then we were like, let's just we have a bunch of songs in our hands. Let's polish them up, and let's finish like writing another EP. And then he had another thing with Dillinger, and he also got offered to play in Gatherers as well. So I think it was like a mutual thing between all of us and him to just kind of like part ways right now, because he's getting offers for playing in Gatherers, and then he's doing this stuff with Dillinger still. Meanwhile, the 3 of us, me, Oreo, and Kyle, we're kind of just because we write as a band.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's no songwriter in Ornaments. Like, we all write together. Yeah. And at that point, we had kind of just been waiting for Anthony to be able to come to practice again. And he's so busy that he wasn't able to do that. Mm-hmm. So we, after I think it was like a month of dealing with this, we kind of all decided that we were going to part ways with him.
And that's when the whole like kind of like booking, band leader, like that sort of thing, you kind of started wearing.
Yeah, so like I decided to take up that mantle, which I think I'm failing miserably at. But I mean,
No, I mean you were always a nervous wreck, but you were always pretty organized. So.
yeah. I try my best, but at a certain point, I can just break down easily.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I decided to do that, and now we're kind of reestablishing ourselves as a 3-piece.
Well, so what's that going to do to the sound as terms? Because I know Anthony, he was very, he'll like for example like a lot of more modern like Death Heaven, kind of like the melodic black metal, kind of like heavy shoegaze. He brought a lot of that to the table with him.
Yeah, so we were kind of Stories to Weather. It was kind of a conflicting piece between like our chaotic side and like our post-hardcore side, and then our like post-rocky, more mellow, melodic kind of stuff. And we all knew that was something that was happening.
It's the best way I could describe that album. Just a sidetrack is a shoegaze band, a post-hardcore band, and a melodic black metal band getting into a fist fight together.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. And while Jezza was gone, Oreo, Kyle, and myself, we kind of talked about a cohesive record.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about, okay, like we've been out on the road, we've met all these new people, we met a lot of cool friends, people seem to like what we do, but we know we could do better, and we know that all we want is cohesive piece.
I mean, just before you came in here, you showed me 2 of the demos.
Yeah.
And they sound fucking awesome. Like
Thank you.
Like I think that this is personally like a new beginning. Like it's like darker. It gets fucking worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And everything kind of had to lose control. You guys kind of had to go back to the drawing board. And now it's just like I feel like as a 3-piece, you guys will really be able to like come into your own, I guess.
Yeah. So that's pretty much like it was a rough start, but the 3 of us that are still in Ornaments, we know what we want. And we know what we want to accomplish.
Everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, everybody is exactly on the same page. And like when we were a 4-piece, everybody was on the same page, but there was still that like those 2 conflicting sounds. But now we've gotten together thinking as like, we're not thinking song by song now. You know, we have about 4 songs that are getting demoed right now, and we're just waiting to book a recording day to get them recorded.
Do you guys have an idea which studio you're going to be going to?
We have a few ideas. As a 3-piece, it's not financially available for us to go back to Voodoo.
Yeah.
So, but we might still have Mike Watts master whatever we get tracked. Mm-hmm. But I think for tracking, there's a studio in Brooklyn that contacted us. And this is a guy who would come out from, I think he lives in Queens. He would come out from Queens to watch our Long Island shows.
Yeah.
Every time we had a Long Island show, this guy drove out from Queens to come see us.
So definitely a fan.
Yeah, definitely a fan. Which is when he contacted us, and he works at a studio, and he contacted us about, he's like, hey, if you guys are recording, I work at a studio. It would be cool to get you guys in here. We could do live tracking or just tracking in general, and you can come in. And it's good to hear from somebody who enjoys our music, because that's somebody who knows what we want, you know, who knows like the way we sound live, because he's seen us live plenty of times, and I think he's on the same wavelength of like what we would like ourselves to sound like. So he contacted us, and we've been in talks with him, and I think we're gonna try to track there sometime in early April.
All right, awesome. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely excited to hear that. And so it's gonna be more. You guys are gonna be more in the kind of like album focus, like front to back, flowing like a movie. And
exactly.
whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're not thinking song by song. We're not thinking let's get this song done. What does this song need? We're thinking when we're writing parts now. We're thinking what does this song need? Not only what does the song need, but what does this like record need? Yeah. You know, like what does this part of this song take away the theme of the entire record? Is pretty much what we're going for. We want a cohesive front to back piece, like a book, like a movie, just something that you hear it and you know it's Ornaments.
Would we be expecting for it to be a little bit more conceptual, like have a concept, kind of tell a story, or is it just kind of going to be kind of more thematic?
Kind of more thematic.
Okay.
Not really like a story kind of thing. But I mean, it's weird. I'm So now I'm the only one writing lyrics now.
So you're the sole vocalist now.
No, I'm the sole vocalist now,
Okay.
yeah. And then Oreo is the sole guitar player. We were gonna look for another guitar player, and if they could do vocals as well, that would be great. But again, we're not trying to take any setbacks. We're trying to move forward with what we have right now, rather than
if you get a new guy, like new chef in the kitchen, you kind of got to show him the ropes. You got to adjust how you guys work. But
I mean, we're not trying to force anybody. Like, this is what we want. You come into this band, and this is what like you got to sound like.
Yeah, it's got to be natural.
It's got to be natural.
Yeah.
We wanted to find somebody who dug the music, knows what we wanted to sound like, and is just on the same wavelength. We don't want to change anybody coming into the band because that just creates like tension.
Yeah, absolutely.
We wanted somebody to kind of like flow in and be like, this is a perfect fit. Like the way you play and everything is like a perfect fit for us. But like waiting for somebody like that is like, that's such a long shot to try to just like, I hope this person just kind of falls into our lap, So we just decided to move on with what we have right now. So you got Oreo. Now, instead of playing our old songs, which had 2 guitars on them, we decided we should really come out with a new release and write all these new songs knowing there's only going to be 1 guitar playing them live.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing with vocals.
Okay.
I mean,
but are you still guys that, like, when you start playing shows again, are you going to play any, like, for example, like Wistful? Like, that's definitely a pretty popular song for you guys.
See, Wistful's one of the weird ones. We did have 2 shows booked that both fell through due to like inclement weather, and then Kyle got like an infected eye, so we had to drop those 2 shows.
You motherfucker! That was actually a show I was gonna go to.
I know.
I was actually gonna leave my house and go to a show, which never happens. And then Ornaments drops off the show, and I'm like, "Fuck it! I guess I might as well just go home and smoke pot until I fall asleep."
You're not the only one who like I had to explain things to. It really sucked.
No, it's because I talked to Max, and which is another thing. I'm kind of embarrassed. I totally didn't realize I've known Kyle for like a decade. I've known your drummer for longer than I've known any of you guys. For longer than I've
because he knows Max.
Yeah, no, because he used to be in Farewell Tragedy, and me and Max used to be in Life After Living, and like Farewell Tragedy was kind of like one of our brother bands because we were really close with Aaron. And then like Max was really like close with Mike and Kyle. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was just kind of because I remember thinking I was like, I wonder whatever happened to those guys. And I was just like, I've kind of known what Kyle's up to. I'm a fucking asshole.
Wonder what those guys are up to. Wait, I already know.
Yeah. Well, I know Aaron's doing some like he works for some like audio company now.
Well, Kyle works in that audio company too.
Yeah, I think Max was telling me a story because Max works at a staging company. And he's sitting there and he said that Aaron and Kyle walk in. And he's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?" And they look at him and they're like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
He's like, "We're meeting with Max," and then he's like, "I'm meeting with Aaron and Kyle." This is weird. It's like I used to play like shows with you growing up all the time. This is fucking weird. Now we're doing like business together. We're like adults.
Yeah,
this is weird.
Yeah. Kyle and Aaron runs a pro audio company.
Which Kyle was always a killer fucking drummer.
Oh yeah,
like he was always the best part of Farewell Tragedy. Not knocking the other guy. The other guys are great musicians, but it was always just great watching him play. Kyle's
like such a pleasure to have as a drummer.
He's just the rare type of drummer where it's the one thing that I look for drummers. Like I hate light hitting drummers. Like I need my drummers to hit heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear the snap on that snare. You hear the boom. He has precision of like a fucking jazz or prog rock drummer, but he like
hits
that
hard,
punk and metal kind of
like
velocity.
he can hit hard, but not miss a beat. There's a lot of like drummers that play lightly, but they just don't cut through because maybe they're playing like something intricate and they need to kind of hold back a bit to play lighter to do everything they want to do. Kyle's the best of both of those worlds. He hits hard, but he's got a lot of precision in what he does.
Precision unleashed is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a real pleasure to be in a band with.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm fucking excited to hear it. Another thing I want to touch on really quick. I had Staleworth in here last week. You are an original member of Staleworth.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, it is. It is weird.
Because not a lot of people know that.
No, yeah, not a lot of people know that, especially like meeting all these like new people in the music scene who also know Staleworth and they know Ornaments. So when Staleworth gets brought up, I'm just like, oh yeah, like I was God, I was jamming with Brett and James for like 4 years.
It's like, yeah, I'm one of the founders of that band.
Yeah, one of the founders of that band. They're completely. When I left, they were a completely different band.
I mean, I actually went back and I listened to it because we talked about it. So I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna pull up Destroy after listening on the fucking Spotify." Listen to it. It's not that bad. Musically, it's pretty good. Pete was a killer drummer.
Pete was a good drummer. Yeah, like things just didn't work out with him.
Yeah,
but like he was an awesome drummer.
No, but it's just
Pete was the best musician in the band as far as I'm concerned. Like he was the best musician in that band.
Oh, without a fucking doubt. I remember like when you guys asked me to try out and I came down and just watched you play. You guys were all good, but I'm just watching Pete like.
Yeah, everybody watched Pete.
This fucking guy's human.
Whenever we played live, like all eyes were on Pete.
He's just.
It was hard not to.
Yeah, I can listen to stories whenever. I'm fucking hooked on it.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm still glad, and we still get that response from people. You know, that album's like a year and a half old now, and we still get the same response, and it's not much. It's really not. It's 5 songs, and we know we love the release, but we just know we could do so much better, and it's so awesome to hear. We're still getting the same response off of this release, but at the same time, it's such a pedestal for us because like now we really, with all the people who really like that record, my biggest thing is like letting people down because I think a lot of people have high expectations for us, and I don't want those people to listen to our next release and be like,
dude, you need to hang out with Fish more.
Yeah,
because you tell him any of this, he's like, nah, I don't really care. I was like, so
I care too much.
That's
my fucking problem.
I'll be like, Fish, so how's the new Pedalhead album coming? Is it gonna sound like the last one? I don't know.
Are you gonna get Fish in here to do this?
He was. I ask him all the time to do it, and he's like, I don't want to fucking talk. He's like, I think I'm busy that day. Then that day he calls me, you want to hang out? I was like, I thought I was gonna do a podcast. And you were busy.
If you're free to hang out, just come over here and talk in front of. We just hang out. You just have a mic in front of you.
I don't know what it is. He's like anti-marketing. Like he refuses to talk about Pedalhead. He doesn't like.
I think that's what makes Pedalhead such a gem.
It gives him like a mystique.
Yeah, I think that because I love that album they released.
Oh, dude, Raspberry
Cough is so good. Like I listen to that album like all the fucking time.
Like if I didn't know him, I would love that album still.
I think it's because knowing Fish, because I've known him for a decent amount of time, pretty much since I met you.
Yeah,
I've known him. I haven't really like talked to him too much, but like
Fish
hearing from you,
he doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah, yes.
Dude, he was on the Staleworth interview. He sat in. I think he said like 15 words the whole time, and it was like Mrs. Garrett from Different Strokes, Matt Pinfield, and like some other nonsensical bullshit, and that's all he contributed for the whole time.
But I think it's that personality that he has that make Pedalhead so attractive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. They have like that mentality of like whatever, this is what we sound like.
I know him, but like I feel like if I didn't, he would be kind of like a Jay Mascis figure who just doesn't talk. He's kind of an idiot savant, and all of a sudden picks up a guitar, gets in front of the stage, and he's just ripping a fucking guitar. It's just like, what?
And then he gets done, and he's just like, whatever.
Yeah, it's just like, yo, good set, thanks. The next Pedalhead album is gonna sound pretty different from the last one.
Yeah, I mean they did come out with that EP.
And the EP
I think last summer.
Yeah, the EP was definitely going more into like straight up indie rock territory as opposed like to like the shoegaze stoner metal hybrid that they had on the
It was still really fucking like those 3 songs they released were still really fucking
dude,
good.
I fucking the opening riff of that first song, it fucking just pokes me in every single like
yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was listening to that EP they released like all day when they first released it, and I remember because I didn't have a car at a time, and I was living in a basement in Ronkonkoma, so I had to like bike to work. It was in the middle of summer, and it was so fucking hot. And I remember
Classic Long Island story.
yeah. And I remember getting off of work and having to ride my bike like 2 miles to the bank.
Yeah.
And I was listening to that, and like usually it would suck, but listening to that song. Like, I was just like, oh, this is really fucking cool. Like, this is perfect, like, bike riding on Long Island, like, in the summer kind of music.
It's hilarious to me because it's also, like, Raspberry Call has been out for 2 years. They put it out on Dead Broke Records, which is, you know, owned by Mike from Iron Sheik and Adult Magic. And they still haven't put out a 12-inch. And I asked Fish, I was like, yo, when can I get like a 12-inch?
I would love for them to press 12 inches.
Dude, I want a 12-inch Raspberry Coffee. He's like, yeah, his exact words, we'll get to it when we get to it.
It's not easy, man. It's fucking hard to press 12 inches. You know, that's what we had. The Stories to Weather was released for a year before we got 12 inches in.
Yeah.
You know, and then we did a weekender, and it was our release date of that album, but that album was already out.
I mean, how would you say though? How do you think the cassettes, vinyl, and digital downloads combined? How do you think the album's been selling?
It's been selling really well. God, we had the first pressing of the cassettes. We did 100, and we ran out of those in the middle of our tour to South by. And then we repressed 50 more. Those went by quick.
I mean, cassettes are super easy to manufacture.
Cassettes are super easy to make, so it's like whatever. But like those sold 150 of those cassettes.
They're beautiful. I managed to. I think I copped the red one, the first run.
Yeah.
It's a fucking beautiful cassette.
Yeah. It was really cool because I've been collecting cassettes for a couple years now, and I think when Ornaments. Before we started recording, I said
you spearheaded that one.
Oh yeah. I was like, if there's one thing we're gonna do is if we're gonna get cassettes.
We're doing fucking cassettes.
And everybody was like hesitant on it, but we did it anyway, and we sold them. Like we had no problem moving those cassettes.
Oh no, you know it's funny. When I was in Life Hiatus, we totally tried ripping your idea off like that and putting the download codes in the cassettes. Guess how many I sold?
How many?
One.
Wait, you have Life Hiatus? Can I have one?
Yeah, I'll give one to you right now.
Oh shit, dude. I didn't know you guys press cassettes. Yeah. Does anybody know?
I think so. I was telling people about it.
When I saw you guys never had merch.
No, I'll look for it.
Yeah, you get it for me later, but I would love one.
No, I mean, no, because pretty much what was happening in Life Hiatus was I was just pulling everything together. Life Hiatus we were originally Life After Living when we were in like our mid-teens. Mm-hmm. And we always it was always really natural for us to make music together. Like you put the four of us in a room and just the songs fly out and they're fucking good. We all play off each other beautifully.
Yeah.
But you know, Max has 2 kids, a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sean is, you know, playing his Mr. Underworld figure. And then Dunseith is Dunseith. He's a very volatile drinker.
Wild card.
Yeah, he's a wild card. And one of the best drummers I've ever met in my life. But one day he'll show up, he'll be sober, play the best fucking set in the world, and then we'll have a show the next day, and then there's a chance he might not even show up.
Oh, jeez.
So it was just... So, like, you know, I would have to book the shows. Getting the guys to show up for the shows is just like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
So I paid for the cassettes. I mean, I did them all myself.
Yeah.
Like the whole EP, I recorded, I engineered, I mixed.
Yeah. But you've been doing that for years. Like
I need to remind myself that once in a while. It's just like, yeah, dude, at the end of the day, you're still plugging a couple XLRs into a fucking interface.
Yeah.
Like running a Logic like a fucking tool.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be thankful you know that much because I don't know shit.
It is what it is. I mean, like, I fucking finally started like stocking up on gear.
Yeah.
Finally, like, did that thing, the Green Rhino, best pedal I've ever bought.
What is that?
It's like it's a Why Not pedal. It's a overdrive pedal.
Uh-huh.
But it's just, I don't know what it is about it. I normally hate overdrive pedals. Like, I hate tube screamers.
Yeah.
But something about that thing, it just, like, has this fucking, like, warm tone. It works phenomenal for bass, too.
Yeah.
Because when I record bass tracks, I run them through the Green Rhino into the Trace Elliott I'm sitting on right now. gives it a nice little like edge because a lot of the time when you plug a bass into a guitar pedal, you're losing a lot of the bass frequencies.
Yeah.
That doesn't cut them off.
Yeah.
That actually like the little knob on the left right there, that controls the boost of the bass.
Do you always have that on when you're? Is that like your bass tone? Is that like an EQ or something?
Well,
like when you or do you turn that on at like specific parts? Like,
Specific part. I have 4 different distortion channels because
Yeah.
I play the Black Star, the JCM 900 together, and I have one tone which is the 900 gritty with Black Star clean. I have one tone with both of them on the overdrive channels, and then I have actually no, I'm sorry, 3, and the third one is the Green Rhino through both the clean channels. Which that's fucking what happens when you're in a band with James. You think you have a tone figure out, and he's like, "Nah, bro, that just doesn't sound good. Like you need to get this, you need to get this, you need to get this."
James Mann.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's surprising because like I think
Dude, he used to be
especially
so anti-pedal.
You know
So
what?
anti-pedal.
The thing between me and James is, and I think the thing that we're both like growing on together, but like separately, is like becoming like gearheads.
Yeah.
Because like back in Staleworth, like it was nobody had pedals. The only person who had pedal, I think Brett had like 4 or like 5.
I think I sold you your first bass pedal.
That Boss Distortion, I still have that.
Dude,
and
that thing
I
is
brought that
fucking sick.
when I first started jamming with Ornaments.
I
And
mean-
you see the fucking shit that Oreo has, like
Yeah.
his giant fucking pedal board, and then
Yeah.
Jez had a giant pedal board, and I had my Sans amp was the only pedal I had, and that was more or less just like an EQ for my bass. But then I had that Boss Distortion pedal that you sold me, and I went to practice with that, and they like started laughing at me. They were just like, "Get that crap out of here."
I didn't think it was that bad of a pedal.
Yeah, it was okay.
I mean, you got the job done.
Yeah.
But
But-
is it still part of the line or?
No.
It's out of there.
I still have it, but I was thinking about putting it back in the chain just because now so like what I was saying was like me and James are kind of growing into more gearheads and
Yeah.
and finding out what pedals we need and everything, and especially now since Ornaments is a 3-piece. I have like 6 pedals that I use.
Yeah.
And when Anthony was in the band and we were a 4-piece, I kind of more or less stayed back on like using pedal effects just because they were so heavily doused in like delay and reverb.
You're keeping it grounded.
I'm keeping me and Kyle were just keeping like a backbone.
Yeah.
You know, just so we're still, nothing gets lost and like too washy with each other.
Like a proper rhythm section should.
Yeah. But now that it's just me and Oreo playing guitars, now I really had to step up my game, and I had everything at my disposal. I just never really used them much. But now while we're writing, I'm using all of them. I have a Cathedral, and then I have a Line 6 tap tempo delay, and I have my Rat Tail like overdrive. My Sans amp is like an EQ.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about putting the Boss pedal out there because the Rat Tail is just like, when I want a little bit of like distortion, I can't do that with the Rat Tail. The Rat Tail is just like in your face. Like I've blown so many speakers using that pedal.
Yeah, nah, if you use that the bass distortion, just boost it out just
A little
ever so
bit.
slightly.
I was thinking putting that back on my chain just to have like that little boost when I need it. Cause
Yeah.
now I need to really work on my tone and what I'm doing.
I mean,
when
dude,
I'm playing.
It's a slippery slope because the pedal board I have now looks relatively simple, but over the past like 3 months, I've like you were here when I had the fucking C9. I had the big muff with the tone wicker.
Yeah.
I had like all of these fucking pedals it was just novelty pedals.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's a big thing too when you get like, especially as a guitar. I don't know how it is as a bass player, but as a guitar player, normally when you start getting into bass pedals, it's more for like the novelty thing. It's like, oh, wah pedal.
Yeah,
phaser pedal,
Yeah.
flanger pedal, like, you know, this fucking delay pedal, like this is making my guitar sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really think about like EQ pedals. You don't really think about like tone compressor pedals and how
Yeah.
much they do for your sound.
Yeah. Well, that's something I always have to be mindful of now that I'm messing around more with pedals and everything.
Well, I mean, how is it from a bass perspective? Do you automatically go into the pedal game kind of searching for tone, or are you kind of looking for more dynamics?
I more or less use them for dynamics. If I'm just concerned with my tone, the pedals, the like the Cathedral and the Line 6 and the Rat are off.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for more, like I have my tone where I want it with my Sans amp and just the settings on my head. But for my reverb and my delay pedals and all that, that's more for dynamics.
And what are you still running the Mark?
The Mark bass?
Yeah.
No. I have a Music Man.
Oh, you have a Music Man now?
Yeah, I've had that. I've had that for like a year now. Yeah.
Who were you playing the Galleon Kruger cabinet too, or is that someone else?
I was playing the Galleon Kruger.
Are
Yeah.
you still
The
doing
small, the little four speaker, little small guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing that. I sold that, and I sold my Mark bass, and then I bought a 212, like a vintage 212 cab, and then I got and then Anthony, and then my ex-girlfriend at the time, both chipped in.
Your ex-girlfriend at the time? She's like,
My girlfriend at the time, current ex-girlfriend, they chipped in to buy me the Music Man for my birthday, which was fucking huge. It was really fucking nice of them. Every time I play, I hear my tone and I'm just crying. It sounds so good.
We'll get next Ornament show. Can people be expected to see tears streaming down your face as you play the Music Man?
Probably, yeah. Probably that, and like just the way I've been writing recently, because my life kind of like, God, so many things were going on, and I remember there was like a trifecta of problems that all hit me on one night specifically.
Yeah.
And I remember being stranded at Ronkonkoma train station with no money. It's in the dead of winter. It's like 1 a.m, and I fucking broke down. Like three things kind of all came together in that one moment, and then I just ended up like stranded and like
band stuff, women's
stuff, financial stuff, like all together, all in one. Like it was all the tension was building up.
The three things that always break a man.
Yeah, and I remember fucking getting dropped off and then trying to buy a train ticket, and I fucking couldn't. And I look at my bank account, and it's like negative like $200 because the state like garnished my wages, and like I was like, right now is a good time to have a mental breakdown. I was like, I've been putting this off for a while. This is the perfect time.
Let's do it right about
now. No. And I just fall to my knees and everything kind of. But I've been getting my shit together recently, you know, and I'm doing a lot better now. But that experience of I was going through a rough time for like a couple months.
Yeah.
And that experience is kind of what the new Ornaments record is going to base off of. Experiences with, you know, with relationship problems, but then just problems in general. Just it's gonna focus. I've been writing a lot more personally. Is what it was. Like I know stories to whether we really wanted that to be vague with the lyrics and kind of wanted to leave it open for like people's interpretation. Yeah. And I think that's why it's received so well, is because people can like shout the lyrics and they think like, because people come up to me and they, you know, like A Great Escape, like they really love that song and like what it means, but it really didn't mean like anything for us at the time. You know, it was just so vague. We wanted people to kind of do whatever they want with it.
I like your style. It's very like William Burroughs-esque, where you just pretty much just shrouded in metaphors to the point that it could just like it could mean anything.
Anything, yeah. So pretty much like that's the way we were writing, and that's the way we've been writing, is to keep it vague, a lot of metaphors and stuff like that. But now with this new release, I decided to like be a little bit more personal with it, which I don't know how that's going to be received with people.
I mean, if I could, from the two songs that you showed me, as personal as the lyrics may be, Anthony's guitar playing on it almost seems like it gives it hope. Yeah. And that's the best way I could describe it. It's almost like, it's like that scene in fucking Perfect Storm before they hit the wave, where like the clouds clear up for a second and they see the sun and they're just like, oh my God, it's beautiful. And then it closes back up, and then the wave comes. Yeah. And then fucking Mark Wahlberg makes a passionate fucking speech before he drowns. Oh, yeah.
And George Clooney went down.
Dude, it's... fuck. Well, I'm trying to... Because I remember watching The Perfect Storm recently, and like when I was a kid, that part used to get me choked up. And then the scene comes up when like Marky Mark comes up from the water. He's like, hey, baby, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm talking to you because I'm right here. I'm here with you. I loved you. I always loved you. Never say never, boo boo. And then Then he just drowns and disappears in the waves, and then the scene cuts. The chick fucking collapses.
Dude, John C. Reilly was in that movie.
Yeah,
He was like, he's such a weird actor to where like he can look fat
he
and
was in
burly.
JFK.
Really?
Like I think Oliver Stone's JFK. He was in JFK.
Jeez, he's just such like an actor where his weight he could go from big, fat, and burly,
Yeah.
to like thin and just like thin and like weird looking.
You know what's interesting about him though? For like the first 20 years, he had a really good acting career. Like he had tons of shit in the
But
90s.
I feel like nobody recognized that. Now that I go back and I watch old movies, like I went back and I saw Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
And I saw him in that, and I'm like, oh fuck, like he's that kind of actor where like now people know him because he does like the Steve Brule and he was in Step Brothers and he does
like
all
Talladega Nights.
Yeah,
and
but,
stuff like that,
but people kind of forget like where John C. Reilly has been.
he's a classically trained character.
And
actor.
you like watch old movies and you'll just see him in like a serious role.
Yeah,
and
dude.
and you're just like, holy shit, like
character actor used to be his bread and butter. That's why like he was on like Mark Maron's podcast, and he really is.
oh, I gotta listen to that.
dude, he's an eccentric human being.
Yeah.
Like just in general, he's like the type. He's like almost reminds me like a Bill Murray type, where
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
shows up whenever he wants, wearing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
Acting however the fuck he wants.
Dude, well, and it shows because like he does Steve Brule on Adult Swim, and it is the weirdest fucking thing ever. It's hilarious.
You know, so much of it is improv.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He
So
really
little of it is scripted.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so weird because I think they could like cut the cameras and be like, okay, something really weird that could happen right now, and then they'll like throw that in there and then they'll roll the cameras again.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just so cool because it shows like he just does whatever he wants because he'll do all these. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And he's in the new King Kong movie.
Yeah.
But then you see him as Dr. Steve Brule on Cartoon Network late at night, and it's just like he does it because he wants to and because he can. It's cool. It's cool that people can like do all these crazy things and become so famous, but then at the end, like they'll just do whatever the fuck they want.
But I feel like that's what separates the artists and the entertainers.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, that is important, and I think that's what makes me appreciate people like John C. Reilly and like Johnny Depp like even more. Just the fact that they can just like fucking relax for a second and just
I feel
goof
like
off in a role.
I feel like that's something you need in like emotional intelligence for.
Yeah, it's kind of like you gotta have to not have like an ego.
Yeah.
If you have an ego, you're not gonna do like the stupid like shit that your underground fan base like wants to see. You're gonna do whatever you can to get paid the most.
I mean,
you know?
because you are a film buff. Like you went to school for that shit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I went to school for film, and then I switched my major to television. But that was just from like an engineering standpoint.
Yeah.
Like I knew there would always be engineering jobs in television.
Oh, absolutely,
Television's
for sure.
never going to stop, and the equipment's going to change. But if I have knowledge on how to work a type of equipment, I can just adapt to a new piece. And I'm like, that's more valuable than me hopefully like eventually getting into like, you know, like film-based stuff.
I mean,
know,
are
it's
you
a little more
looking?
chaotic.
Do you see yourself as you keep doing ornaments? If you have to possibly switch careers, just to kind of keep everything afloat, do you see yourself actually going and taking on like the film stuff?
See, I don't really know. I think I kind of lost coming out of high school. It was all about like film and like TV and like I was fucking stupid good at going to college because all of my courses were something I was highly interested in, and I got on the dean's list. Like I went to 2 different colleges. Like I just loved learning about that stuff.
I mean,
And,
what was your bag though? Science fiction, horror, like dramatic.
more science fiction, and I'm a real like old school horror buff too.
Like Argento and like Trauma.
I've never seen those.
What?
No.
You've never seen Toxic Avenger?
Oh, Toxic
That's Trauma.
Avenger. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no, like Class in Yucca High, Toxic Avenger, or Poultrygeist. That's all Trauma. Trauma's the film company.
Okay, gotcha.
And Dario Argento, that's the guy who directed Suspiria, Inferno, Deep Red. He's like a fucking insane Italian horror director.
Yeah.
No,
Wait. Inferno. You did Green Inferno?
No. This
okay.
is like late 70s.
Okay.
No,
Well,
but-
I mean, Green Inferno was back in like the 80s.
Yeah, Green Inferno, I believe, was like 83.
Yeah.
I'm batshit with like B-sides though. Like that was always my thing.
Well,
man.
yeah.
Like, B flicks, like Street Trash, all the Trauma stuff.
Yeah.
Like then like, you know, like early John Carpenter, like early Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Are you a Star Wars guy?
Oh, of course, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about. I want to talk Star Wars
Oh,
with you really
dude,
quick.
my mom saw Rogue One last night,
You've seen
and
it?
I wanted to.
You've seen it.
I love it. It is,
dude.
it is so fucking good. I did not like Force Awakens. That didn't feel like a Star Wars movie to me.
It felt like a setup.
Yeah.
I have complete faith in Rian Johnson.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But like as far as the tone of that first movie, the tone of Force Awakens, I didn't like the tone. I didn't like the characters who didn't make sense doing what they were doing. Like it didn't feel like Star Wars. But Rogue One, I think went back to like the roots of what Star Wars is.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and my mom saw it last night. And she went to the movies with my dad, and I went up to them and I was like, "Oh, what'd you guys see?" And she goes, "No, and my mom's a huge Star Wars fan too. Like my parents are the ones who had the old VHS tapes and sat me down as a kid and like this was the best thing. Like I saw A New Hope.
This is A New Hope before Lucas fucked it up.
Yeah, it's like A New Hope. Like I watched that like 17 times. Like when it came out in theaters, like you're gonna love it. And that's where it kind of all started. So my mom and my dad being a huge Star Wars fans as they are, my mom looks at me and she's like, "We saw that stupid Star Wars movie," and I'm like, "Stupid." I'm like, Rogue One? I was like, how is that? What? I was like, that's like the best thing they put out in a decade.
Yeah,
like, what are you talking about? And she's just like, I didn't understand it. And I had to sit there. I sat down and I'm like, how did you not understand it?
It's so black and white. It's like they got to get the plans to the Death Star. It's like this.
How do you think Luke and the Rebels knew where to shoot the Death Star?
Yeah.
Like where the weak point was in the Death Star?
Do you remember the gaping plot hole in A New Hope? Well, yeah. Well, this is the void in that gaping plot hole. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah, jeez. Like, why would the Death Star be built with such like an open wound on it, that could so easily be destroyed? And then that fills in that whole plot hole. And I'm like, how did you not get it? It was awesome. It was so good.
K2SO?
The
droid.
The droid, yeah.
That's like
that was an emotional thing to see.
Oh,
the
dude.
droid getting gunned down. Spoilers.
But right before that, where he's beating the stormtrooper with the other stormtrooper.
Yeah, dude.
Just badass, dude.
Yeah. It was good, but he was a droid that wasn't like this quirky, like cute, like I'm gonna say like funny stuff. And
No, he was sarcastic.
He was socially awkward and sarcastic, and not kind of catching on to certain human like innuendos and stuff like that. And that's the way a droid should be. That's the way that the role that droid played in that movie is the way like the droid should be portrayed.
Yeah, like the scene where he walks in, it's like, you know what the probability is of her shooting us, right?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't care. 47.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna tell you anyway because he's a fucking droid. Like, he's not gonna sit there and complain like,
or like fucking C-3PO.
C-3PO or like
C-3PO would piss me off sometimes though.
Yeah,
especially in the prequel trilogies. That was probably the most.
I like the prequels way more than Force Awakens.
It's weird. First time I saw Force Awakens, I loved it because it was just almost like, fuck, it's like bringing me back. Like there's Han, there's Chewie, there's the
Mamba.
Falcon.
Yeah, you know what? You paid fucking $20 to go see that movie.
No, but then you know what it is? The second time I saw it, I was like, all right, maybe I can see why people don't like it. Then I watched it again in canon, and it flows perfectly.
Yeah.
Like if you watch Return of the Jedi and go right into Force Awakens, makes sense.
Yeah,
everything connects perfectly,
and I had no problem with it making sense. I just did not like it felt like you watched the new Star Trek movies.
Yeah, I don't like that, but that's J.J. Abrams.
But again, like that's the same kind of tone in those Star Trek movies that are in the Force Awakens, and it didn't feel like.
You've seen Looper though.
Yes, I've seen Looper.
And Looper's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Looper is fucking awesome.
The guy who's directing Looper is directing Last Jedi.
Okay.
And he's writing it too with Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back.
All right.
So it's not going to be a J.J. Abrams movie.
Okay.
And it's like,
I think that might have been my biggest problem was J.J. It was like a copy and paste of the Star Trek movies, or like a Marvel movie for that matter. It was like a copy and paste of those movies, and they just put in a different like fucking set design and a couple different characters.
Like it works with like having a very specific style of cinematography works with some guys like Quentin Tarantino. Like obviously Kubrick, like he needs those long shots.
But he's not adapting a whole franchise.
Exactly.
He does what he wants, and there's a theme in all of his movies, and all of his characters there's reoccurring characters kind of like that are different characters with different names, but they're like the same thing, the same kind of roles as other characters, but that's his own theme. That's cool, but like you're not adapting to an entirely new universe.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like that movie was in like the Star Wars universe.
No,
I had a hard time getting engaged in that movie.
I feel like at the same time, though, a big part of what the movie was, it was just setting up a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And all it was just like, we're going to make you ask as many questions with this movie. And at the end of it, we don't want you to leave with any answers.
Yeah.
We want everything to be a fucking question mark.
Yeah.
And then we want you to come back for Last Jedi and sit down Last Jedi. We're going to start answering some of those questions.
Yeah. Like who, what's his name is? The Snoke. Yeah.
I think it's Darth Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. But like, my problem with that is The Force Awakens pretty much acted like the prequels never happened. I think that's what they're doing this isn't like a new universe.
I felt like that at first, but then when I went and saw Rogue One, and then you had Bail Organa and Maz Kanata in it, I was just like, all right.
So it is in the same universe.
So because I personally, like, a lot of people shit on the prequels. I like Attack of the Clones. If Lucas went back and updated the prequel trilogies like he would with the fucking original trilogy, it would be way better.
Yeah.
Like Attack of the Clones, if you just made the special effects a little bit better, you cut down some of the fucking Padme Anakin love story.
There's half the movie there.
Yeah, like it's just like I don't want to see him frolicking through a fucking field.
But the thing about the prequels is it's got a whole, because as soon as in the first movie, I was such a Star Wars buff as a kid, I even knew this. In the first movie, when at the end of the movie, Phantom Menace, when Kid Anakin gets off the ship and the Emperor, Senator Palpatine at the time, kind of walks by him and he's like, "I'll be," he pretty much says, "You're interesting. I'll keep my eye on you." Yeah. Even as a kid, I knew that was the Emperor.
Yeah.
I knew who that character was, and I'm just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And then the second movie, it kind of develops more, and there's a whole like weird like. It's like a government conspiracy. You have this guy pulling strings in the Senate, but he's really like this dark, evil fucking like Sith Lord. And I just love that about the prequels, how it just set up like building that tension. Like, because all these Jedis are going to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much half of the cast is going to die at one point.
I mean,
it's just setting up that character development to see Anakin kind of lose his shit.
But what's funny? I went back and I rewatched Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is one of the best Star Wars movies. You stack it up against the original trilogy, I think it's up there.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah, dude, Revenge of the Sith was a great fucking movie, man. I cried as a kid. As a kid, being so invested in Star Wars, this is the big moment. That movie was like, as soon as the trailers came out of that movie, I was like, so this is it. This is all the Jedis are gonna die, and Darth Vader is gonna become Darth Vader, and then just watching it all happen, like in front of my little, like, I think I was like 14.
Yeah.
I was crying. I was
dude,
just like, oh god.
That scene where Obi-Wan, he takes the first fatal hit not fatal, but the crippling hit on Anakin.
Yeah.
And he just screams, "You are supposed to be the chosen one."
Starts crying.
Gets me
I
every
love
fucking
Ian
time.
McGregor.
Oh, dude, me too.
So,
dude, Trainspotting 2 looks phenomenal.
Yeah. That's gonna be exciting.
Apparently, rumor is Obi-Wan movie 2020. They're not doing the Boba Fett movie anymore.
Good.
Because they said
Boba Fett.
He doesn't need a fucking movie. They said everything in the prequels.
Well, yeah, they do that too, but it's just like he's a character with no character.
Yeah, he's just
he just got built up in every single movie he's been in, and he's just died. He doesn't do anything.
And on top of that, you watch him in the prequels. It's like, this is a kid who clearly just like tortures like mice for a fucking hobby.
Yeah,
clearly a sociopath. Because everyone wants an Obi-Wan movie. Because there's so much that can be told about the time that Obi-Wan gets on Tatooine all the way to...
And he's on there for like 20 years being a hermit. Like, what the fuck is he doing?
And I have this theory that I do think... Because Ewan McGregor, when before Force Awakens came out, they were like, "Are you going to be part of Star Wars?" He was like, "Nah, it'd be cool." He'd be like, "I'd love to bring it back."
Yeah.
And then as the progression, like I think I saw an interview from like 3 months ago, he was like, "I'm not at liberty to discuss it." He's like, "All I can say is Obi-Wan's story's not done."
Oh, yes.
And he was like, "I got to do some of the voiceovers in Force Awakens."
Yeah,
during
he
flashbacks.
did. Yeah.
So I think that Obi-Wan has a relation to Rey. It wouldn't be out of line with drunk Obi-Wan knocking up some chick.
Just getting completely like, well, think about it. Like, how do you keep your cool? Like, the whole Jedi Order has just been destroyed, and now you're forced to just like watch over this baby, and you're living alone. How the fuck do you cope with that? I don't care if you're a fucking Jedi. Like, you're gonna break down at some point. I would think. Look at Yoda. Yoda fucking basically lost his mind and became fucking like a mental patient, like living out in the fucking swamps.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to see how Obi-Wan kind of breaks a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see that. I thought he was great. I thought he was better than Alec Guinness.
Oh yeah.
Like Alec Guinness, like yeah, great. He's the original Obi-Wan, but he didn't fucking want to be in the movie.
Yeah, no,
that's like well reported. He didn't want to fucking be in the movie.
Yeah.
But like Harrison Ford didn't want to be in the movie, but at least Harrison Ford
had
like,
character.
Yeah,
his character. I did feel like Obi-Wan in like the old movies kind of was just there speaking. You gotta do this and do that, and I'm driving the plot point of the movie.
Yeah.
No character development. He dies in the first movie. Like it's really just he's just a plot device. I think.
Yeah.
For the most part in the prequels, but
yeah, just kind of introducing Luke to like who he is.
Yeah. He drove the storyline.
Yeah.
Luke met old Ben Kenobi, and then. It's like, there's a thing called the Jedi and the Force. And
yeah, but Ewan McGregor brought that character to life. Like
Fuck
he does
yeah,
with
dude.
any fucking character he does because he's such a goddamn good actor.
I love, like, I have little cousins that are, in Star Wars is still a big thing, and I have little cousins that are into Star Wars. I got all these toys and shit, and it's cool seeing, like, Star Wars still being around in kids' lives and shit. And I would troll my little cousins. I'd go up to them and be like, who's your favorite Jedi? It's always fucking Anakin, and it pisses me off. And I'm like, wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anakin, I was like, Anakin
I
kills little kids just like you.
Yeah. No, but I mean, that's the thing. Like Anakin in the first half of Revenge of the Sith, like that's the guy I like. Like I like that guy.
Yeah.
He's like sarcastic. He's powerful.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like or like what was he like? Or like 2021 in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, about that. Because he was more of a teenager, and yeah, that'd be about. I think that's what Anakin's age was.
Yeah, so it's just until he starts having the fucking mental breakdown about like when he starts having the visions of Padme dying.
Yeah.
Like before that, up until that, like I like that character.
Yeah.
I like that incarnation of Anakin.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan though in general throughout
is this good?
the man.
Yeah,
He's the fucking man.
Absolutely. Darth Maul. He beat Darth Maul.
Dude,
No problem.
that lightsaber scene is one of the most like
That's the best lightsaber
people
battle
are like,
ever.
Phantom Menace is one of the worst Star Wars movies. Like,
I will
it is not.
I will sit through that entire shit movie just to see that final fight scene.
I went on Spotify looking for Ornaments.
We're on Spotify.
Are you?
Oh yeah.
Because I found
Yes, sir.
I found 2 Ornaments
There
pages.
are, yeah. There's other ornaments, sure.
And they were hilarious.
Yeah.
Like there was like one that was just like it almost sounded like the Mortal Kombat theme music,
Yeah.
like like 90s techno.
There's like a Canadian like avant-garde like grungy like jam band named Ornaments, and then there's like somewhere in Europe there's like another Ornaments.
Okay, so you guys are on Spotify.
We are on Spotify. It might be hard to find, but
so it's better if people want to go on Spotify. It's better for them to just type in Ornaments stories, and then the album will definitely come up.
Just if you type in the album, we come up. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes as well.
Okay, cool. And like Tidal, all the like major streaming services and shit like that.
Yeah. We're on. We got that shit sorted out like last year.
Available on 12-inch, any major streaming services. And you guys have any like nothing planned show wise for a little bit?
Nothing at the moment. I think April is when we're gonna start. We're gonna start getting back out there because we still need to get ourselves grounded before we don't want to come back out playing shows as like a half-ass band. We want to really with this new release and these new songs, we really want to impress people with what we've been up to. We want to make this whole like kind of hiatus we've taken like into make it worth it for people. Yeah,
I mean, from 2 demos you showed me, it sounds fucking killer. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to hear the final product. I'm excited for everyone else to hear what you guys have been cooking up.
Yeah,
because it's definitely not a Jurassic. It still sounds like Ornaments.
Yeah,
but I feel like you guys. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, it's kind of the direction that I was hoping you guys would go in.
Yeah, it's the direction that we've been fighting to go into, and I hope that most people share your view of like what you wanted us to go into. I think we're making like I don't care if like we're making a right move or not. Like we're writing what we want to write,
Yeah,
and
that's all that
we're
matters,
sounding
dude.
like what we want to sound like. But at the same time, I do want it to have a good response.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna get received well.
All right. Well, cool. I'm glad to hear it, dude. Thank you for fucking coming by.
Thanks for
Been
having
real.
me.
Absolutely.